Welcome, come. Thanks for coming. Take a seat. So, how are you all feeling?
Great.
Excellent. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased to be here. Really. Welcome. Come and sit. So, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah? So, raise your hand if you've ever felt like you just don't fit in. You don't have to, but yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Raise your hand if someone has ever tried to fit you into a box that you just don't fit into. And the fallout is actually, you know you're too big for that box. But the fallout, the story that you're left with is that you're not good enough, or you're not clever enough, just because you don't fit into that box. Well, put your hand up if anyone has ever underestimated your abilities, your unique, incredible abilities, just because they don't fit, your abilities don't fit the status quo. I believe that our unique abilities are what actually makes us our superpowers. And if nurtured and encouraged in the right way, our capacities and our abilities are limitless. Limitless. My name is Helen Chapman, and I have dyslexia, I've got dyspraxia, and I've also got ADD. And I'm so proud to now be working with highly creative, successful women to live their life on purpose by uncovering and embracing their own unusual, unique brilliance. I normally walk around, but I can't, it's unusual then. I normally have a microphone and I can just wander around, but I'm being stuck to this box, right? I'm trying to fit into this box.
He doesn't realize you don't belong in a box.
And I don't belong in a box.
And your unique abilities.
And my unique abilities aren't being represented here. God damn it. Did you know that 1 in 3 business entrepreneurs are dyslexic or dyspraxic? Don't give us a spreadsheet. We are shit on detail. But what we are really good at, is the big picture. And that's why so many entrepreneurs are dyslexic and dyspraxic. We are so good at spotting the odd one out. It's called global visual processing. We are so good at it. We're also so good, and this is one of my superpowers, we are so good at this interconnected reasoning. Connecting things which so few people can connect. That's one of my superpowers. And it's my belief, it is my belief, that in a world where everything, all the old structures are breaking down, where nothing is predictable anymore, that people with neurodiversity have something incredible to offer the world. We think outside of the box big time, all the time. We've had to, right? Because we don't think like other people. We just don't think like other people. We've got incredibly complex minds. It also makes us quite fun to be around because we just are a bit
Funky.
Funky. Funky. I was talking to my friend just here. I was like, oh, I need to borrow an adapter so that I can straighten my hair. And you're like, why are you straightening your hair? When your hair's like this, that's you. That's you. So here I am with incredibly slightly messy hair in a box, because I've had to be told I'm in a box, but there we go. I'm trying to squeeze out of this box. So yeah. In a world where I believe that perfectionism is on the rise, and particularly women, they will do anything to fit in. They'll do anything at the expense of their mental well-being, their physical health, cutting themselves off from their thoughts, from their feelings, from their body, just to fit in. And I believe that people with neurodiversity are here to show the world how to embrace their unusual and unique brilliance, and how to make a difference with their difference, right? So when I was growing up, my dyslexia, my dyspraxia, my ADD, it wasn't recognised. It wasn't recognised. People knew I was a bit different. People knew I was this incredibly weird shape. But they didn't know what to do with me. They had no idea what to do with me. And they tried to squeeze me into this box. And the fallout was that they put me in the back of the class. And I got left behind because I didn't have anyone to see my unique brilliance and nurture it. This is what's so important with people with neurodiversity. So important. Yeah. So important to recognise their unique brilliance. And having done so much work on myself now, I now know that that box was actually too small. And the people that were trying to squeeze me into that box, they were scared of my unusualness. They were scared of it. They just didn't know what to do with me. They weren't scared of my power, my superpowers, my unusually brilliant superpowers. If you want to embrace and uncover your incredible, unusual brilliance, you must follow these 4 steps. Number 1, break free. Break free from these core misbeliefs, these core false beliefs that would never belong to us in the first place. We were just born into a matrix, right? We were born into a story, and a story that was existing before we existed. And because we're children, it's about survival, right? We adopt these environments just to survive. So we carry around these old stories, and we live life. Life lives through us. Life doesn't happen to us, we live through it. So we attract and mirror these events, right? And I've got these incredibly powerful techniques where I connect the wisest you, the wisest you, the one who knows how absolutely unbelievably brilliant you are. Can anyone recognise that? Yeah, you get those moments of absolute clarity where you just go, I am absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
It's those, right? So bringing in her and bringing into relationship that part of you that's stuck in an old story that I'm not good enough. That was my story. And the more that you bring into relationship, the more that transforms. I don't know if anyone here has heard about loops, these obsessive ruminations. Has anyone heard of them? Yeah? I am an absolute genius at it. I spent a lifetime being obsessed. I'm obsessive. I obsess and obsess and obsess about something. But that also means I'm actually brilliant at getting out of them. So that's what I teach. And once you start cutting these loops, and once you start really embracing and bringing into alignment the wiser you and the part of you that's stuck in this old story, what happens is you start living from this place of truth. This place of truth that's actually really you. It's always been you. The second point is reconnection. Reconnecting to the universe. I spent so long being disconnected, unplugged from this creative field, this force. I felt so lonely. And once I started reconnecting with the universe and expressing my desires and my visions, aligning from this place of deeper truth, the universe started sending me all these incredible opportunities. Look at me, I'm here, I'm living the dream, right? I never thought this was possible, even 6 months ago. This is amazing. So reconnecting, replugging into this universe, and then reconnecting with others. This is such a big one for me. I spent up until so recently, I had an old story that it wasn't safe to reach out to other people. God forbid, if anyone knew I hadn't had it all figured out. No way, joking, aren't you? I was living in toxic shame. No way. So again, transmuting this old story that you're actually living in, right? That it's safe to reach out to other people. It's safe. And once you start doing that and you're aligning, you're living from this place of truth, you start attracting these incredible people that not only mirror and match your brilliance, but they can see your blind spots. They can see a vision that you can't, it's possible for you that you can't even see. And then you do that for them. It's this incredible dance. It's amazing. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So breaking free, reconnecting, self, others, and the universe. The third thing, expression. This is big for me. I used to wear black all the time. This is navy blue, by the way. Just so that you know. I used to look like, this wasn't even goth time. This was kind of, I was wearing black. And now I've got this turquoise furry coat, my friends can testify, and I'm walking down the street and people are literally stopping me asking if they can stroke me. It's true. It's true. Because I'm aligning with my real truth, my deeper truth, right? And I can't help but express myself. I can't help but this radiance to come out of me, this unique brilliance to come out of me, because I'm proud of who I am. And it manifests in all sorts of ways, in the food that you eat, in the documentaries that you watch, in the clothes that you wear, in the hair that you have. Every single part of your life, you start living from this place of truth. It's amazing. And this unusualness, the thing that makes you different, people start to notice. People start to really notice you. Because the truth is that people love people who are different. Who wants to fit in and can stand out, right? The fourth thing is about living it. We have never been, particularly as women, we've never had more influence than we have now, ever. So it's not about how can I get power, but it's about how can I use the power that I have. On average, one person can influence 1,000 people in their lifetime. That's on average. We're not average. We're game changers. We're game changers. Nothing wrong with being average, but we are game changers, right? We're up to something big. That's why we're here, right? And this is why I want to offer something to you. If any of this resonates with you, or if you know anyone who this might resonate with, and you feel some kind of connection, I really want to offer a 1-hour discovery session where we go deep. And I mean really deep. If you don't like deep, don't bother, right? I go deep. and we vision your future, and we work out what's getting in the way. Why am I doing this? Because I want to make the most impact in this lifetime. And I've found my zone of genius, and that's to bring out and embrace and help others to uncover theirs. So if you want to connect with me for an hour and go deep, then come and see me or my two friends. We've got an application form. Just write your name down and we'll send an application form out and we'll go from there. But yeah, I'd love to spend an hour with any one of you. And I want to leave you with this. This is one of my icons. Marianne Williamson. It's not our fear that we are inadequate. It's our fear that we are powerful beyond our recognition, beyond our imagination. And that's what I tap into. That's what I'm a genius at. Thank you.
A lot of what you said. Everyone, my name is Georgette Fraser-Moore. I too once lived in all black. Navy blue was hard. So being an adult now and incorporating color into my life and living what I feel to be my best life and being unapologetic about it and just doing what life feels like it wants to do with me and allowing that to happen is awesome. So, neurodiversity. How many people in here has ever been, in this room, how many people has ever been called a superwoman? Has anyone ever looked at you in awe and said, how are you doing what you're doing? It's like, how are you doing that? That means you're a superwoman. That means that you're amazing. That means that you can't fit in this box. I built a company where usually when I walk in the room, the first thing I say to them is, this box has got to go. We don't live in the box, we break the box. And then we don't only just break the box, we break the rules. Yeah. And then we don't only just break the rules, but then we rewrite the rules and make it whatever we want it to be. Woo! That's what we do. So I'm not a speaker by trade. I don't speak. They speak. I'm not a speaker by trade. I'm a businesswoman. I'm an educator. I'm a friend. I'm a mother. I do a lot of things. I'm an artist. I am a logical thinker. I am a break the rules, think on the left side and the right side at the same time, because there's no reason why you have to think in just one frame of mind. But when I thought about neurodiversity, I was like, okay, well, unique abilities. I'm not sure if anybody's seen Rain Man. I know Star said she didn't want me to talk about Rain Man. Has no one seen Rain Man?
Yeah.
And we're talking about, special abilities and superpowers. And there's, I have a lot of students and a lot of people around me that would be considered autistic or dyslexic, or they have tons of superpowers. They are amazing people that can do amazing things and think in amazing different ways. But if you have seen Rain Man, imagine being able to not have to be put in the back of the classroom because people don't understand you or understand how you think or why you think the way that you think, but be able to think in a way that they can't even comprehend. Being able to think outside of the box naturally, being able to live in a world that you can create, being able to not conform to the stigmas of society and be able to create something within you and outside of you that's beyond you. That's superpowers, if you've ever had any. I don't like just talking to people, so I'm gonna actually ask you guys a couple of questions. So can somebody tell me one of their superpowers, any of their superpowers? And don't act like you don't have them. I know you have them. Helen, what's your superpower?
Yeah, this interconnected reasoning, I'm absolutely brilliant at it, like spotting connections between things. one of my superpowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and spotting odd things out, right?
Being able to look at it with a different eye,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's an amazing superpower.
Healing.
What's your name?
Katarzyna.
Katarzyna. Did I say
Well
that right?
done.
Okay, yes. What is your superpower?
I do healing, realigning my voice, working with voice.
Ooh, I love this. I got chills. Okay, the other superpowers in the room. Yes.
So I realized that my biggest superpower is imagination. I actually went for a retreat and I learned how to use my imagination. And imagination is infinite. And we just know everything. We don't need this external knowledge. We just have to go deep with it and to listen to imagination.
Amazing. What's your name?
Nadia.
Nadia. Nice to meet you, Nadia. Those are some amazing. Anybody else want to share a superpower?
These days, I embrace my OCD as a superpower.
Yes! Yes!
Yeah,
Embrace it!
On a really bad day, my house looks amazing.
It's like, exactly. So I was when I was growing up, my mom always told me, she said, okay, speak when you're spoken to, answer when you're called. To me, that means shut up. Don't say anything unless somebody says something to you, and then if they said something to you, they have to ask you a question for you to actually say something back. So I was quiet. I was very, very silent growing up. I think, but when I went to school, I started, that's where I found myself. I said, because for some reason, I hated reading, didn't want to read a book, could not, my attention span didn't work around books. I don't know how I'm going to become a doctor in a couple of weeks. I don't know how to make that happen. That's amazing. But my attention span didn't allow me to read books. So I'm like, okay, don't read. Just don't even try. Just leave it. But I was able to sit in a room and absorb information and not necessarily have to study it, read it, or figure it out. I just was able to sit in a room and do it. So I would bring home hundreds from school, and my mom would say, I don't know if anybody was in my session downstairs, but my mom would say, okay, 100 isn't enough. And I'd look at her real crazy, like, what? But she'd say, 100 is not enough. And I said, well, what am I supposed to get? 100 is like 100%, that's all of it. I got all of it right. She said, well, if you got all of it right, is there no possibility to do more? And I said, okay, so I do more than all of it. And she was like, yes, do more. So as a child, I felt like a failure. For me, it felt like a failure, because if I got a 99, that was even worse, because it was like, oh God, how can I bring this 99 home? Because if 100 wasn't enough, 99 sucks. So I'd bring home, 100 isn't enough. One time I got extra credit, I skipped home. I was like, Mama, I got 110. She was like, yeah, you could have gotten better. I'm like, okay, my mom is really mean. I was like, nobody got 100, I got 110. But I've taken that knowledge, but I've also taken it and turned it around and turned it into a career of understanding that there is no limits. Regardless of what you think full is or 100% is, we can always do more. In addition to that, I also help people, and well, mostly help companies, bridge that gap between what they think is possible and their dreams and desires. So as I want to get this done and it doesn't seem possible, call your jet. I help them figure out how to use creativity and intertwine it with technology and align it with business structure and realign business processes. And even if I've never seen the company or ever done it before, I've walked into major airlines, I've walked into major banks, but major financial services companies, companies that I didn't think would actually want to hire me to do anything, and help them creatively configure transformation in a large organization, be able to see things that they didn't see before, because like Helen said, it's being able to see something with a fresh eye, almost. It's like looking at something from a different perspective. It's like you're in this room and you're looking around. Can anybody tell me, without looking at the walls, what's on the walls in this room? Everybody knows that there's maps on the walls in this room? I see some yeses, I see some nos. I think one of the things as we grow up that we lose in some of of our unique abilities, we start allowing normal to be normal. And as a child, when we walked in, everything was brand new. So when we walked into rooms, we knew what was on the ceiling because we always looked up. We knew what was on the walls. We knew what pictures hung in the room. We knew what patterns were on the floor. Because as children, we're trying to learn and absorb everything. Something happens when we get older and we put on those blinders. And if we're walking into the room and we're focused on that chair, we don't end up seeing the room or the people inside of it. I kind of challenge you all. I challenge you all to tap into those unique abilities that you used to have. And I know you still have them. But when you walk today and walk around, look at the people. Look at the floors. Look at the details. Look at the little things that you wouldn't pay attention to when you're rushing off to go where you have to go or trying to find what you're trying to find. I want you to look at the world the way you did when you were 5 years old and you didn't know what the world had in store for you yet. Thank you.
Wow. How long did it take to achieve that state of mind?
For me, it was a moment of clarity when I hit rock bottom, when I lost it all. So I think trying to live in that box for so long in my life, keeping my voice silent, not speaking, not doing, keeping my thoughts to myself, my words, my freedom. And I ended up having anxiety and depression and started seeing a therapist. They were like, you have post-traumatic stress disorder. I said, isn't that what military people get? And they were like, yeah, but you have all of the symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. I said, wow. I lost everything. I ended up losing my job. I ended up getting divorced. And I said, you know what? It was almost like it hit me like a brick wall. It was like, you know what? You need to start living today in your purpose. You need to be mindful in what you do, enjoying every single moment. And it was almost like a 180-degree turn in life, because everything from that point on was profitable to my soul. So I was able to create the life I wanted to live, create the world I wanted to live.
For you, not for anybody else.
For me. And then I was able to help everybody else in the process. So I've had so many people say, okay, well, Georgette, and then I also had brain surgery in the middle of all of that too. So it's like, okay, so now I'm not thinking the same way I used to think. Now I have to actually think I might need to read a book, but no, I'm not reading a book. But it was like, okay, well, brain doesn't function exactly the same way as it did before. All of these changes in life, but I was able to tap into those superpowers. And I said, okay, well, I want this. Don't know how I'm gonna get it, but that's what I want. And I created it in my mind. I lived it. It already belonged to me. And it manifests. The job I wanted. I want this job. I want to make 6 figures. I want to do this. How are you going to do it, Georgette? I don't know yet. But I just know that I'm going to do it within the next 12 to 15 months. Those goals I made at that time, I made it in 10 months. And people looked at me like, didn't you just tell me you were going to do that, but you didn't know how? And it's like, yeah, but I told you I was going to do it. That's the important part. Not how. The universe tends to figure out the how for us, if you're living in your purpose. Any other questions? Or did you want to answer that question as well?
Can you repeat the question? How long did it take you to achieve this state of mind, i.e. accept yourself as you really are?
Yeah. I'm going to be really honest with you that I still have days where I feel like I'm on like an edge, When I have bad days, I can drop into those old stories. But I'm so much better at just getting out of them. Getting out of those stories, just having, and the more I practice, it's like a muscle, right?
Yeah.
The more I practice, the more I'm able to just more easily be able to course correct. And I've also got other, all my friends who I can talk to, right? And I just say, I've got this thing going on, and my ego's trying to pull me down, and it's like, it's going off on one, and you just, my mentor is teaching me that. It's like, just speak it out. Because once you start speaking it out, it's like, God, that's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I've spent so long in silence, a bit like you know? Trying to fit in, trying to be so, I've lived in crippling shame, like toxic shame, nearly all my life, and not having anyone to talk to, because talking about it would just, oh my God. Shame thrives on disconnection and isolation, right? So it just fed, it was this toxic kind of like swamp of shame, and I didn't know how to talk, I didn't know how to reach out, and me being a speaker, it's like, it's very, very important for me to speak out what's going on in this loop, right? So, but yeah, every day it's getting better and better, and and I wouldn't have it any other way.
You proud of yourself?
Yeah, I am.
Good. That's the right answer.
Yeah.
That's not a box, that's the right answer.
I am proud of myself.
Good.
Yeah, I really am.
I think one of the things I started doing too, and I think it happened around that same time in my life when I had that transition, I started studying mindfulness.
Yeah.
I actually recently just did a mindfulness workshop at my university, and one of the things that kind of came back to me was when you get in that place, in that loop in your mind, and all of this stuff is happening, you know, realize that that is not you, that is the stuff that's here. So if it is chaotic, you aren't chaotic, you don't feel chaotic. The thoughts or that's happening at the moment, those thoughts are chaotic. That doesn't label who you are inside. Or if you're angry and you have an emotion, and it's like, I'm angry, I'm mad. It's like, no, I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling thoughts that are making me angry. And it's not me, it's not who I am. It's a situation. It's me remembering, or it's me planning. It's me doing something that is not, does not label who I am and doesn't stay with me beyond this moment.
You're right. I think being in India makes you very mindful.
It's my first time in India.
Is it? This is my third Indian WEF. I came last year with my husband, and we went into holiday. And the reason I'm telling you this is because there's a mindfulness element to it. My husband, Captain Negativity, God bless him.
My husband too.
Yeah, seriously, you're bad for business, be quiet. We were out, we made the mistake of going to Qutb Minar, which is on the outskirts of Delhi, as you may know, in rush hour. Go figure. All this traffic coming by, and all of a sudden, this cacophony of noise stops, and the traffic stops. And this great big black cow walks down the fast lane. I'm not doing this. And I'm sat there going, and there's like parts of the Red Sea, the traffic in front moved well, and they let this bull, this cow, walk across. And once it had left, wherever it was going, I mean, I have no idea how it got into the fast lane anyway without being dead, to be fair. And it went, and all the noise went, and off we went. And my husband went, there are an awful lot of cows in India, aren't they? And the driver's looking at him in the rearview mirror going, yes, sir. And he said, I don't understand. They're everywhere. Why aren't people bothered about their cows? They're going to get killed. And he went, we don't need to, sir. And he said, well, I don't understand. I'm from Yorkshire. You need to make me understand why these, you know. And he said, we don't worry about our cows, sir, because the cows know their way home. Wow. And at that point, Captain Negativity went, okay. He didn't moan, he didn't complain about anything for the next 3 weeks. I was like, yeah, but seriously, that to me was a perfect. That for me, I'm in the middle of doing a mindfulness book, and I'm stealing that title. You know, the cows know their way home. We seriously, if the cow in the middle of Delhi can survive rush hour traffic and get home in 1 piece, what the hell have we got to worry about? And I was quite mindful at that point, but now I literally incorporate it into my practice every single day, personally. If you think you're not mindful, try taking a shower with your eyes closed. Seriously, it works.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
Can you expand on your work with children?
My
Central?
well, I actually teach at a school. I'm a visiting teacher that teaches at a private school, and it's run by Quakers. I'm not sure if you've heard of Quakers. Kind of, if you're in the U.S., I know we have Quaker Oats, the man with the weird hat. But it's run by Quakers, and Quakers kind of embrace the mindfulness concept. And what I've found is that a lot of the students at the school probably would be isolated in a lot of other educational environments because they're so unique, because a lot of them have unique abilities. One of the things about that actually, I've been working with this school for a little over 10 years, and Quakers, they have a thing called silent meeting. So on Friday mornings in school, we have students that are as young as 4 years old and as old as maybe 14. And on Friday mornings, we have silent meetings. So at the first period of the day after everyone has welcomed each other, the whole school goes into an auditorium. You used to sit in a circle with a candle in the middle, and they would sit in complete silence. And the silence probably lasted about 10 to 20 minutes. But you didn't have to stay silent. You were allowed to speak if you had something you wanted to share with them. And in that, I had children that I knew that I would have to help with basic mobility skills in some of the classes that I was in with them in. But they would say the most profound things. So I remember one time sitting in silent meeting and a 4-year-old, and they would pair the 4-year-olds with the 14-year-olds so that they had like mentors. But a 4-year-old, actually she was about 5, stood up and said, "Please hold my friend, I'll call her Rebecca, in the light because she lost a family member. And I've been worried about her. And I want you all to hold her in the light." That's what she's thinking in silence, you know? Or, you know, I had one student that actually separated himself and started to do something. And I said, "Well, why are you over here doing this while we're doing this explorative activity?" And he said, "Miss Georgette, you don't understand the pain in my heart." 6 years old. "What do you mean the pain in your heart?" He said, "You don't understand. You'll never understand." I said, "Well, I would like to try." And he said, "Well, my family is getting divorced." And I said, "Oh, that causes pain in people's hearts." And he said, "Yeah." And he was like, "So I'm getting divorced." And I said, "No, you're not getting divorced, and your family is not getting divorced. I said your mom and dad are getting divorced, and that has nothing to do with you. I mean, it's gonna hurt you, and it may feel like you're losing something, and you're probably gonna, and you deserve to feel that way." I said, "But it's not your fault. It doesn't have anything. It doesn't stem from you, and it doesn't define you." He said, "I miss my dad, but he's gonna pick me up later." And I said, "Well, enjoy that time with him later. Instead of separating yourself, how about you just love on your dad as much as you can when you're with him." They don't get that in regular school. They don't get those types of connectivity and being able to just be themselves, regardless of what's happening in the world around them and their own personal worlds.
I'm going to incorporate that in our school.
That's our program. Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you. Picture with, come on, let's get together and take a picture. You want to take a picture together and then with anybody else?
Yes.
Let's do it. Ready to sit on the side of my short hair picture?